Ooh, okay. But it is, when we see the timings, we'll see it does bring up opportunities in our life. It shows us the patterns of opportunities. And really, it's a 12-year cycle. So there's 12, we learn things in 12-year cycles. By the time we're 12, we kind of understand the family we came out of. And from 12 to 14 to 24, we're beginning to understand school, friends, lovers, jobs. We begin to understand our energy. From 24 to 36, we understand family, kids, or the social networks. From 36 to 48, each 12-year cycle is a different phase in our life that we learn things in, that certain types of levels of understanding. So, but by 12 years old, you begin to expand to do things out of the home. Like you might go to scouts, guides. They don't have that much anymore. You might go to some function or be playing sports on a team that you couldn't do before you were 12. The Jupiter expands. 24 too. It depends on what education you got, what you understand, what kind of job you're going to have, and where you're going to go. So even though we're seeing Mars and what we're doing, and we're seeing the restrictions and the discipline and the work and the effort in Saturn, Jupiter's the understanding of these two. Boy, how many people understand their boss? If you understand what the boss needs, it's easy to do what they're going to want, and you get appreciated for that. If you don't understand what the boss wants and you're just trying to do things, you're not going to get the same energy back from the boss. So not just from the boss, from everybody. So how much can you do? How much do you learn? How wise are you? So a lot of excess, like drinking, smoking up, these would be tied to Jupiter. Oh, let's have fun. Let's add this other. We add instead of we're just having fun. But boy, man, it'd be much more fun if we drank something, or we had the happy hour, if we smoked up doing something like that. Encouragement to do things that aren't in our best interest, but seem fun. This is where Jupiter goes for it. So some of the negative sides of bad because of Jupiter, it can add excessive weight, excessive expansion, too much of a good thing. So Jupiter in money house means you can attract a lot of money, but you could also have a lot of debt, or you could spend too much. So you have to be able to look good and bad when you're thinking about Jupiter. And you're trying to see how the understanding is forming. So this formulating of comprehension based on energy and restraint, muscles and bones, kids and parents, adults and bosses, just all of these factors, Mars and the Saturn, is based on how this understanding comes out of it. And if you have a bad understanding, how do you change it? Would you even want to? How do you learn? Well, you'll learn by your experiences. You'll learn by your successes and your failures. If you've done the discipline and you've taken the action, boy, you can succeed at climbing the highest mountain. But if you just try and climb the mountain without preparation, most people won't make it. And then it'll take them time to learn. It's hard to really know how someone's going to function until you see them stopped, so you run into interference. If you're trying to do something and someone interferes with you, you're trying to wash the dishes and the husband's just trying to come along and fill you up and play with you or whatever and making it harder for you, it's hard to think that's cute. There's sometimes a misunderstanding with the different agendas there. So, okay, this puzzle goes on. Jupiter's encouraging the expanse and encouraging the way you look at things, and that's going to guide your energy and your means of understanding your father or responsibilities. So when we go to the first of the categories, Jupiter can be in the daylight increasing or the darkness increasing half. The daylight increasing is moving towards more freedom, moving towards more independence. So the Jupiter is going to try and encourage its own understanding. I want to follow what I know. I want to understand things myself. I don't want to be told what to do. I want to try it myself. It's going to exaggerate and expand for itself, not because of other people, more because it's what I want, or I'm doing more. So the understanding is biased towards being more free or more independent. So if you have an understanding that's biased towards more freedom and more independence, boy, it's easy to encourage yourself to do something independent, do anything you want that's independent, and to break away from a team or break away from a group. The understanding is inclining that way. And that's not a bad thing. To do your own thing can be a really good thing if you understand what's necessary to do it. And it can lead to very many noble enterprises. When the darkness is increasing, the understanding is geared to belonging and to other people, to be participating in relationships and being more responsible. So it's a little more geared to Saturn. and the nighttime daylight increase are a little more geared to Mars. So when it's geared to the team or the group, the understanding is formulated by what should we do, what are we doing, by being part of things and seeing what's needed in a team or a group or not, and trying to understand things in context. Whereas the Jupiter, when the data is increasing, may be trying to understand things in context, but in their context. They're trying to figure it out for themselves and leave other people's understanding behind. They're moving away from that to get their own take on it. So often we're born into situations, you might be born into a fundamentalist group, a religious group, and you're brought up with certain principles and values, and you may grow up and figure out, I don't want those, I have a different take on this. That's still your Jupiter, but you're coming to your own take on it. And that take could be good for, it could be part of the group or not part of the group, but you're going to come to it yourself. No one can tell you, you just have to believe this and you're doing it because so-and-so said so. But the nighttime is greater half is going to be more affected by what other people say and how other people understand. And one's understanding is going to be important for you, that other people understand what you're doing and understand how you do things and how you're aligning. It's going to be affected by other people and the responsibilities that come around that. So as the nighttime is increasing, you might be less inclined to take your own actions and to decide your own thing rather than do things for other people or with other people. Might understand the team play more than the individual enterprise. I'm just trying to reach for examples of how this was, so we can start to see this. You're not going to get just quickly just define the keywords and say this means this, so it's going to be this. You can keep adding thousands and thousands of sentences and it still hasn't included it all. Take some reflection, take some puzzling, take some time to know someone to see whether they're good or bad, reliable or not reliable. Reliable Saturn, they can achieve. Unreliable, they don't listen to the laws, they're expecting, and you're choosing to be with someone who's not working with the law? Whoa. So this moving towards others and the understanding of how people come together and what's sharing and what's involvement is that understanding of how we do things. I only did it for you, or what were you doing for me, or why, like, that's it. But with the daylight increasing, it's, I'm doing this. Why would I do that? What are you doing? Like, it's more of a puzzle. The action, the understanding is encouraging the action, regardless of what the group or the team is saying. It's not, as soon as I say these things, the words don't define it properly. As soon as I think of the different examples, it comes close, but you see the implication. When you start seeing the person's actions and their puzzles, then you can begin to understand it a little, to comprehend their understanding of what they're accomplishing or not accomplishing. I had one client come to me. He tried to swim the English Channel 3 times. Good athlete, tried to swim the English Channel 3 times and failed 3 times. And he came to me, he's in his 30s, he wants to know if he should quit. He's getting older. Should he give up on his dream? And I looked at his chart and I thought, no, you shouldn't give up on your dream, but you have to work a little harder at this. You go back, you get really disciplined, you don't mess around, you do a steady workout and consistently work it up for 2 or 3 months, and you get yourself really in shape, and then do it and you should be able to make it. And he was able to do it on the 4th time he succeeded. So right guidance at the right time is really useful. Astrologers should be using that. But you got to be able to see the problems you can get into, avoid them, to use Jupiter properly. When you're seeing, oh, this could mean luck this way, expansion this way. What if it's wrong expansion that way? What if it was misunderstanding that way? You got to think at both sides and take time to reflect on what would work and what wouldn't. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Now, when you have daylight is greater, spring and summer, Aries over to Virgo, when the Jupiter's in the, it's a year in each sign, so for 6 years, every kid is going to have daylight is greater. For 6 years, every kid will have, so at nighttime is greater. So you're going to have teachers in school will find this totally different approach for people to learning. Every 6 years, it changes to a different kind, a different style. If someone's teaching kids to do their own thing and develop their own experiences, that will work. But then for 6 years, and then the kids that come up won't be responding to that. And the teacher will have to learn to adjust to try and explain things in context to other people rather than just getting the experience. It's a different type of sensitivity, different way of understanding. Of course, judgments about what's right or wrong, whether other people, how other people have opinions. Like when Jupiter's in the daylight increasing sign, you're thinking for yourself, and it's not so influenced by peer pressure, for example, whereas in the nighttime is greater, the team or the group spirit, so other people's opinion of what you understand and what you don't understand and what you should or shouldn't do can become stronger, or at least be factoring strong in your understanding, right or wrong, either way it goes, more so than when it's in the daylight is greater side. Whew. Yeah, when you start looking at someone's charts and you start laying your friends out, you'll start seeing these distinctions. And it can't come any other way than just doing these steps and going through it, and you stop and reflect on it, take a moment for each one. And you know, it's like you're seeing the keywords and they're sort of doorways to a deeper meaning. And the doorways are consistently there. You can see those keywords, but you have to go in and think deeper about them because the words are just the outer fluff or the gateway to really a deeper inner experience, to comprehending this better. So again, the understanding when daylight is greater, it's more like my understanding, what I know, and acting on my understanding and what I think is right or good or feels right, or I can win or I can get better. It's based on more personal gain and momentum. Now you could have your Mars in another sign, in one of the responsible signs, but your understanding is encouraging it to be more independent. Okay, but if you had your Mars in the independent signs and your Jupiter's there, it's going to encourage the Mars to go further and do its own thing more. It's a natural affinity. And be perhaps less inclined to listen to Saturn or to listen to what's needed, what's responsible.